Yo, what's up guys? I'm 4-Star Mon, and I'm here to finally put out a show that I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. Too many frames. The whole concept of the show is that I've been in too many situations where I have so much news that comes out I want to cover, but I'm just never able to cover it. Like whether it comes to like games, anime, manga, whatever, pop culture, anything. I've never been able to just put it out when I wanted to. So this show kind of is going to allow me to consolidate all of that and put it into one nicely packaged video for you guys weekly. Now, the reason I've waited so long to put this out was because, as you guys can probably tell, I've moved and made some adjustments to my setup. So hopefully the videos are more entertaining to watch and can come out at a higher quality visually. Now, since I've essentially missed out on a whole month's worth of content, I will go over all the things I wanted to cover in a relatively quick fashion in order to make up for lost time. Now let's get into episode 1 of Too Many Frames. Now, earlier this month, the Game Awards came out, and this is one of the biggest topics that I wanted to discuss. Now, obviously, it's been damn near a whole month since the Game Awards for this year came out, but I still think that it's important to talk about the game that took most people by surprise, winning Game of the Year this year, Astro Bot. I'm not gonna lie, it was very surprising for me to see this game win as many awards as it did, and for games like Final Fantasy VII to not really win that. I think Final Fantasy actually only won 1 award. I haven't had a chance to play this game yet, but it seems like everybody that has played it sang its praises and said it deserved to win every award that it did end up winning. Now, obviously, there were other games that won awards for the Game Awards this year, but for the sake of time, we're gonna have to move on a little bit quickly, so I won't talk about every game that won an award, but I will say congratulations to Metaphor for beating Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for RPG of the Year. I haven't had a chance to touch it yet, but the fact that it beat a powerhouse like Final Fantasy VII is surprising to me, especially since Metaphor is a completely new IP. Now, of course, there were multiple announcements at the Game Awards this year, with a brand new Okami sequel, Clive from Final Fantasy XVI and Tekken 8, a new Sonic Team racing game, a brand new Virtual Fighter game, The Witcher 4, and of course, Naughty Dog's new IP, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. Out of all of these, I'm honestly the most excited for the new Okami game and Clive and Tekken 8, since I have played those games before, but I am glad Naughty Dog stopped their money laundering scheme and decided to make a brand new IP after the last 4 years of re-releasing the same games 100 times. Overall, the Game Awards this year was probably the best I've seen so far, and I am excited to see what gets nominated in 2025. Now, if you're a Pokemon fan, then you're more than likely have been playing Pokemon TCG Pocket. And if you haven't, drop this video right now and play it. Okay, well, actually, no. Finish this video first, then go and play, because this game is so addicting. It's essentially a simplified version of the original TCG game, but optimized for smartphones. You can open up a pack a day, or if you're a big spender, you can just pop real money into the game and buy 10 packs and open them all at once. It doesn't stop at just collecting them. There's battling, and trading is seemingly coming in early 2025. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I have played this game so much that I have both of the new packs completed for the most part. I'm still missing some full arts, but I'm hoping I can complete my collection when the trading drops so I can have everything complete and it can fill the dark, deep hole that's in my heart. Now, speaking of Pokemon, if you've been in the Pokemon YouTube space at all for the last 10 years, you might have heard of a YouTuber by the name of Shofu. He's famously known for the Pokemon Cyphers that he's made, and he finally kept his promise and dropped the Cypher late November. Now look, I'm not trying to glaze here, but the video was actually fire. It lived up to everything that I thought it was going to be. If you are a fan of rap and are even slightly knowledgeable about Pokemon, I would recommend it. These dudes have been the cornerstone in the Pokemon community for years. And seeing as this is probably going to be the last Pokemon Cypher we'll ever get as fans, I'd implore you to check it out so you can come be more enlightened and become a better person. And if you're wondering, my favorite verse, or actually my favorite group on there is Water type. Just giving you all a heads up. That's my favorite group out of all. Omar went crazy. I ain't even gonna hold you. While we're on the topic of a Nintendo IP, I think it's safe enough for me to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 rumors that have been going around lately. Now, obviously, for the last 3 years, we've been getting rumors of a brand new Switch with nothing to show for it. But these recent rumors have made it painfully obvious that we are more than likely going to get a reveal in January of 2025. Now, this all started 3 months ago when the dimensions for the Switch 2 started going around. And at the time, it all seemed like it was going to be just some bullshit. But earlier this month, we did get a Twitter post from D-Brand showing what seemed to be the Switch 2 in their new case that they made for the system. Shortly after 3D mockups for the Switch 2 released. It showed the magnetic Joy-Cons, the bigger screen, and even showed what the new Switch would look like sitting in the dock with the top screen exposed with a sort of always-on display, interactive type thing, showing what the battery life is and the game that is currently being played. Now, while the physical optics were fun to look at, we all knew that it was essentially just going to be a bigger Switch. What we really wanted to know was confirmation on how strong the console was actually going to be. And to no one's surprise, it's seeming like we're going to be jumping from a PS3 level console to a PS4 Pro level console in terms of power for the Nintendo Switch 2. Before I see y'all get bitchy in the comments, the PS4 Pro ran games like this. Now, imagine the Switch playing something like Spider-Man, but with a Nintendo IP. This opens up the door for multiple games to get visual enhancements and for other powerful games to get ported to the Switch 2, like DMC5, Resident Evil 8, and maybe even possibly Marvel Rivals. Now, obviously not every game will run on the Switch 2, but at the end of the day, you buy the Switch to play Nintendo games. If you want to play something a little bit higher power, you're either going to get a PlayStation, an Xbox, or a PC in general. So the Switch being able to run at this much of a higher power level is so good for Nintendo fans. Like, you will finally be able to get your Pokemon game that you've been waiting for like years, maybe, running at the level of like maybe a Spider-Man or even a Last of Us type game. I'm praying whatever new games Nintendo makes have not just high graphic fidelity, but also an appealing art style to match. The next era for Nintendo is slowly approaching, and I personally cannot wait for it. The final thing that I wanted to touch on today was your mom, but since she's not here today, we're gonna have to go ahead and talk about Marvel Rivals instead. Now, the game is seemingly looking to rival its other competitor, Overwatch 2, and it's not hard to see why. Please kill me. The game has the same feeling as early Overwatch had, with even more fun things to do. I'm personally a fan of the way that they introduced team-ups to the game and allowing the environment to be destroyed. With 33 characters at launch and seemingly more to come in Season 1, the types of combinations that you can have for different metas and comps are seemingly gonna end up being infinite. Like, it seems like we could really, like, as the years go on for this game, eventually see so many different team comps and just team like combinations that not every team will end up being the same. You'll end up playing a different game with a different comp every single time. Now, obviously at the beginning of this game, it's gonna very obviously stay, very like one-sided, like 2 tank, 2 DPS, 2 healer, for the most part if you're playing with competent people. But I do think that we can eventually move on from that and maybe run 1 tank, 3 DPS, 2 healers, 1 tank, 3 healers, 2 DPS, 2 tank, 3 healers, 1 DPS. I feel like every character in this game feels so fun to play, and they all have insane damage, especially the healers. The healers do a pretty good amount of damage for, being a healer. I feel like we could see some very crazy team matchups in the future, and I'm hoping people stick around for this game. Now, eventually we will see some dips in the player base, which is normal. The honeymoon phase for games like this only really lasts like a month or two, but the Marvel IP is strong enough to keep people invested, even if the MCU is making very questionable decisions. If you are wondering who I main right now, I'm currently playing Hulk, Venom, Rocket Raccoon, and Squirrel Girl. I am hoping that if a certain vampire slaying, hero comes out within the next month, I can play that person as well, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now, let me know who you guys made in the comments. I actually really want to know what the majority of people are playing. I feel like it's really fun to see everybody say how they're all Spider-Man and like, yeah, bro, I'm Spider-Man. I'm gonna go ahead. Don't worry, guys, I got this. And then they die immediately because they don't know how to fucking come back for heals. Now, that's going to be the end of this episode, and I cannot wait to make episode 2. I'm hoping to see you guys back here next week on Monday for another episode of Too Many Frames. Now, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.